Welcome to Beaver County, Pennsylvania. Divided by its rivers, our official motto says, united by its people. Immigrants, migrants, millwrights and miners, factory workers, farmers, and storekeepers. And don't forget about our football legends, celebrities, entrepreneurs, business leaders, and everyday folks like you and me. We live here too. Long ago, George Washington slept here on the frontier, and in the morning, he looked westward and said, "Keep it going that-a-way, America." And so we did. But some folks weren't leaving. By 1800, they had planted their flag where the Ohio and Beaver Rivers meet, and they called this place home. President Jefferson wrote to them, "Best wishes for your present and future welfare and assurances of my high consideration and respect." And it was then a done deal. Beaver County was official. That was 222 years ago. But our play is not a history lesson. In fact, let's fast forward through the past and set our story down right here, right now, today. What you are about to hear is a brief anthology of Beaver County Voices, each a powerful essay revealing what it's like to live in today's Beaver County. This complicated tapestry of experiences as varied as America itself. And just like America, Beaver Countians are as divided by wealth, politics, hate, bigotry, and indifference. You know how it all breaks down. You see it every day. Who has what and who doesn't have enough? The powerless and voiceless. Or maybe you don't see them at all, or care, or realize that these divisions are tearing us apart. But our play isn't a dark tragedy either. Listen closely. Despite what divides us, what wears against us, and what brings us down, we hear in these stories of ourselves a powerful sense of hope and possibility, an unwavering desire to hold our families and communities together, not divided by our rivers, but united by our people.
Wealthiest country in the world. How many times have we heard that line? So there's no need for anyone to go hungry, right? Wrong. In my world, I see it all. Food deserts, empty pantries, children scrambling in summer programs for that free lunch. Hungry people crowding food banks and soup kitchens for a decent meal. Wealthiest country in the world? Spend one lunch hour with me and you might change your mind.
A blanket, a cot, a cup of hot soup. It doesn't take much to comfort them. Sometimes I feel this visceral rush of emotion that I'm doing a good thing, that I'm meant to be here. You know, one of the helpers, the good guys. But mostly I'm haunted by the image of them out on the streets, cold and dirty and scraping by, just holding on. Mostly I'm overwhelmed by their stories, their plights. Doesn't everyone deserve a roof overhead, a carpet underfoot, a place called home to rest a weary head?
From the time I was a young kid, I knew this was my calling. Helping girls stay safe, sheltering them from the evil lurking on mean streets, educating them. The only sure answer to keep them out of harm's way. Human trafficking is ugly, dangerous, horrific. Oh, I know lots of people out there think it's a big city problem. It can't happen here. But sadly, it is happening here. Every hour, every day, and it's very dangerous.
It was my freshman year. My friends and I were having a blast together. Homecoming, coffee shops after school, wandering around town, getting together at each other's houses. We were always together, as much as we could be. None of us could drive yet. But in March, we began hearing about this virus. Overseas. Surely it wasn't going to reach us, but we could tell it was something out of the ordinary because adults were acting strange. Stranger than usual. It was crazy to think that this virus was going to be a problem here in our little town of Beaver, PA. But just when we thought it wouldn't be, bam, no school. But only for 2 weeks. I was sure we'd be back.
My name's Walter Montgomery. I'm a vagabond reporter, but I like to think of myself more like a story hunter. You see, the magazine that I work for sends me to small towns all across this country to talk with everyday folks like yourselves. I mean, what's your story anyway? What makes you tick? It's your town, you live here. What matters to you? Well, with my fancy lights and my cameras, I roll into these little towns that most of you have never even heard of. You probably don't really care much, I can assure you. I mean, who gives a damn where you're from? Well, that's up to you, I suppose. If my crew and I happen to come to your town, we'll probably set up a little interview space, kind of like this one in this old hotel ballroom. I mean, it'll do, I guess. I mean, there's enough room to swing a cat, and the acoustics are they're okay. Well, at least there's a little watering hole next door. I mean, I think some of you still call them beer gardens. Anyway, my producer's back in New York. They do most of the legwork for me, tracking down people by phone, to be a few phone calls, a few emails, and they just show up and sit down in front of these bright lights and the cameras, and we talk. I don't know them. They don't know me, but most of the time, we don't even know what we're going to talk about. I'm not even sure where the New York office finds these people, honestly. I mean, last week, I recorded a convicted murderer, a prostitute, and a priest. And that was just the first interview. Hey, Kevin, how's the sound and lighting? We all set for, we good? All right, let me get this in place. Hey, before we go, I want to check out that place at Eaton Park.